Hey, how's it going? Welcome back to the channel. Today I'm doing just a little mini book haul video. I have 12 books to show you that I bought over the past couple of months, but this is definitely going to be my last book haul video of the year. I think I've done like 4. This is my 4th one for the year. My goal in starting this channel was just to read the books that were already on my bookshelves, which I may have succeeded in like 30% of that. I don't know. Because I keep buying more books. There are so many books out there that I want to read eventually, but that's a story for another day, okay? Before we get into what I've bought, I just want to take a moment and appreciate my new shirt, Killer Clowns from Outer Space, and the design of Halloween 3. I don't know if you can see the whole thing or not, but yeah, pretty awesome. I love it. Killer Clowns from Outer Space is making a comeback, and I can't be more thrilled because I've always loved this film. I really hope we get a remake or a sequel or something at some point. I think it would be super fun. If you've not watched that, now's the perfect time to do so. So like I said, I've got 12 books that I want to show you. A couple of them I already have, but I needed other copies, and you will see why in just a minute. But the first place, well, I don't know if it's the first place I went to, it probably wasn't, but the first ones I'm going to show you are the ones that I got at a local bookstore downtown called Union Avenue Books. So I went there about a week or so ago to see if there was a new release there that I could get video footage of for my previous new releases video, which I did succeed in that. And while I was there, of course, I had to peruse the shelves and just see what they had. And I ended up coming away with 3 items. One of them I already owned. I've already read this year, and I was trying to unhaul it. I didn't like that copy. This copy, I absolutely fell in love with. So what is that, you ask? Well, that is I Am Legend by Richard Matheson. Check this out. I love it. It's just a little mini hardback version of I Am Legend, which I read back in May. It's like a little Bible. I don't know. I'm so in love with it. But yeah, check out that cover. Super cool. The copy I do have that I read is like the movie cover version with Will Smith, and I just didn't want to keep that. I liked I Am Legend and a lot of these stories, so I was like, oh my god, I gotta get that. It's so cool. Love the cover, love the size. I love that it's a hardback, small copy. Yeah, super cool. So the second book I got at Union Avenue Books is a classic. I've always wanted to find this out in the wild somewhere. Finally did. It's Jaws by Peter Benchley. Yeah, awesome, awesome, awesome. Love it. I know there are major differences between the book and the movie. I already know what those are, I think. But I still wanted to read this because it is a classic, and who doesn't love Jaws? So the third and last book I got at Union Avenue Books is one they had on display in the window. And since it's October and it has a ghost on the cover, I was like, yeah, I'm gonna have to get that. That is An Illustrated History of Ghosts by Adam Boardman. I don't know. It's a cool little cover. Love it. And of course, the whole thing's illustrated. Can't wait to check that out. I'm gonna hopefully try to get to this before the end of October, which is only a week away. So it may or may not happen, but I love that. I mean, check that out. Super awesome. Definitely goes with my channel, right? These next 4 books I bought off of Pengo Books using the money I've earned from selling my own books. And the first one I got is another classic, and that's The Island of Dr Moreau by H.G. Wells. I've never read this. I love the cover. It's very autumny, very October-y. Yes, so there's that. And I definitely wanted to read this one before reading The Daughter of Dr. Moreau by Silvia Moreno Garcia, which I showed you in my previous book haul, and I plan to read both of these before the end of the year. This next one I got is one that has made the rounds all over BookTube, and I am really late to the party, but that is 12 Nights at Rotter House by J.W. Ocker. Now this is a haunted house story. I don't really know much about it. I think there's a lot of mixed reviews about it, but that's with any book, isn't it? Right? So yeah, definitely cannot wait to read this. I would like to read it before the end of the month, but that's not gonna happen. Maybe before the end of the year, we'll see. But yeah, check out that cover. Awesome. The next three I'm going to show you, two of them came from Pango, one from eBay, but they're all from the same author, and I'm going to let you in on a little secret if you are watching this. Next year, I am planning on getting back into reading Stephen King, and I'm going to read all of his works. I've only read 13 of his books before, really loved them, and he was basically the only author I ever read from until like a few years ago when I started really getting into BookTube and Bookstagram and seeing everybody talking about new books and not so new books and classic books and all that fun stuff. So Stephen King was put on hold for me for a long time. I am finally ready to dive into his works. And so I'm starting to build my collection of his. I have a lot of his books already. I will do a separate like Stephen King collection video next month, so be sure you come back for that. But the new ones that I bought, the first one is Firestarter. Yeah, love that cover. Hardback. I don't know if it's the first edition, it doesn't really matter. I'm not one that wants to really collect Stephen King's first editions. If I do have some, that's great. If not, that's fine too. I don't think this is, I don't know. It says it's a book club edition. Totally fine. I've heard it's not his best, but it is what it is. You gotta get it because it's part of the collection, and I'm definitely going to be reading this next year. So the next Stephen King book I bought was The Girl Who Loved Tom Gordon. So I don't believe this is like a horror book. Stephen King writes a lot of different books, okay? He's not just a one genre kind of author, which is pretty cool. He's mainly known as a horror author, but he also writes thrillers and fantasy and whatever. So I think this is one of his, like, I don't know how you would describe it, contemporary books, maybe? I don't know. Cool cover. Is this the first edition? I don't know. Let's see. I think it might be. It's kind of hard for me to tell sometimes, but yeah. So there's that one. So the last Stephen King book I'm going to show you today is one I got off of eBay, and it's one I have read several times before. This is the only book I've ever read more than once. That's going to be Carrie, of course. I've never had the hardcover edition. Of course, this is not a first printing, but yeah, love it. Like I said, this is the only book I've ever reread more than once. This might be my third or fourth time reading it. I love it. Can't wait. So the next three books I'm going to show you all came from Barnes & Noble. Now, the past few months I've been going to Barnes & Noble to get video footage of the new releases to put in my new releases videos, which I've really enjoyed doing. But of course I have to look around while I'm doing that, and I'm like, oh, really want to get that. Oh, really want to get that. And I finally broke down and got a few. So the first one is The Ballad of Black Tom by Victor Lavelle. I really don't know anything about this one. I love that cover. I've heard great things about it. I think it's like a cosmic horror, I want to say. It's very short. It's a novella. Definitely want to try to get to this before the end of the year. This next one is one of two of the new releases that came out in 2022. And when I saw this first advertised, making the rounds, I was like, oh, I'm definitely going to get that and read it. And I went ahead and bought it. So that's Suburban Hell by Maureen Kilber. Now, I've heard this isn't very horrific, but I don't need my horror books to be filled with blood and guts. Just don't. I like light horror. So I think I will really enjoy this. I think it's kind of a black comedy, maybe. It's supposed to be humorous. So I'm really looking forward to reading that. And that cover is just amazing. This next book is very, very, very popular. Probably one of the most popular books out there. And it came out a few years ago. And I'm, of course, behind the times. I thought, well, I need to get this read finally before the end of the year. That's going to be My Best Friend's Exorcism by Grady Hendrix, of course. I broke down and got it. I've heard nothing but great things about this one. It seems to be almost everyone's favorite Hendrix book. Love that cover. So very 80s, very VHS looking. Love it. Cannot wait to read this one. And finally, we have one that I bought at McKay's Used Books. It is a 2022 release. It has not garnered the best reviews, but I'm talking about Hide by Kirsten White. Yeah, love this cover. I debated on whether getting it or not, but you know, I tend to kind of go against the grain sometimes. Like, if the majority of people don't like a book, I might end up liking it. So that's what I'm hoping for this. I've heard it's not very horrific. That's okay. I've heard there's lots of POVs. That's okay. I just hope it's worth the time. If not, it might be a DNF, but I'm going to hold out hope that, you know, Miss White's going to bring it home for me anyway. So there's that. So those are all the books that I bought in the past couple of months. I'm so looking forward to reading all of these. I'm going to try to get to some of them before the end of the year, so be sure you come back for my November and December TBRs to see which ones of these I'm going to read. Definitely let me know down in the comments which of these you have read, what you thought about them, whether you like them or not. Have you read Hide and hated it? Did you read my best friend's Exorcism and hated it? I would love to know that, especially because the majority of people seem to really love that one. And the majority of people seem to really hate Hide. So we will see how it goes. Are you a Stephen King fan? Are you a Killer Clowns from Outer Space fan? Let me know all that in the comments. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you all continue to have a spooktacular October. There's only one more week until Halloween. It's hard to believe that it's almost over. It has flown by. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I will see you in the next one.